on the front page of the same paper. And NAT has opposed the proposed lowering of the retirement age for public servants to 55 years. The union holds that that reducing the retirement age by 5 years would deny the country experienced workers. A new bill is now seeking to reduce the retirement age, but do grab a copy. For the back page of the Daily Nation has that education development in detail. Doctors no show at meeting as state seeks end to strike on this page 4. A desperate attempt to have doctors call off the ongoing strike flopped last night after they failed to turn up for a crucial meeting called by Head of Public Service Felix Koskei. So different headlines on this particular health matter. Remember, 40 days or so into the strike, Kenyans are still asking when shall this end. But it is important to look at page 8, where families to bury fallen soldiers. 2 KDF soldiers from Kirinyaga County who perished in last week's military helicopter crash to be buried this week. This shocking, tragic incident that caught Kenyans in a dark state last week. But of course, in honor of these great soldiers, their families are set to bury them this week. May their souls rest in eternal peace. Beware of floods and landslides. Weatherman now warns. In fact, stay vigilant. You look at page 10 for more from the weatherman. Let's look at the People Daily this morning. On the front page of the People Daily, this is what it looks like once you wake up to it, and how ward representatives stole millions. That is still coming to your screen shortly. Matters corruption still coming in, questioning then how resources are used in different capacities. How ward reps stole millions. An audit report now has it. In what has become a gravy train, MCAs were paid for trips they didn't attend, while monies allocated to projects had no supporting documents. The audit now shows, according to the People Daily's front page, in what has become a gravy train, MCAs were paid for trips they didn't attend, while monies allocated to projects had no supporting documents. More of that on page 4. But above that, LSK in new push for Linturi sacking over fake fertilizer. You'll see on page 2 of the same paper. APRO over law on unions. On the Newsbeat page 13, especially after Twoli himself last week declared that he is not under siege. All right, but APRO over law on unions, also on the front page of the People Daily. More details on the Newsbeat page 13. All right, the floods once again. The heavy rains still covered on the front page. No access, flooded homes in Kitengela, New Valley due to the ongoing heavy rains. That picture you're seeing there is pretty much what's happening on the ground, different areas. In as far as that is concerned, even as we look at the papers, let us know on the comment sections. Send us pictures if you have to of the situation where you are. All right, let's take a look at the Star. Now, the Star has a similar headline to matters devolution, just as we have seen on the People Daily, but different, of course, wordings for that matter. But before we look at that, remember the country still mourning the late CDF who was just buried on Sunday. And on the Star, Ogola, a daughter's heartbroken tribute. KDF Chief General Francis Ogola died in a helicopter crash in Marakwet, buried last Sunday. Star has that covered on pages 2, 3, and 7, respectively. Stalled projects in 10 counties gobble 12 billion shillings. More of that on page 4 to 5. More details on the front page. You can see there per county and the stalled project and the amount it has cost you or the country. And where is equity? Where is equity is the question. Wage disparities, dejection, unfairness in the civil service is a conversation that is pretty much ongoing for quite some time, but more of that on page 6 of the Star. And MCA, Mother and Rabble Rosa with a heart of gold highlighted on the front page of the Star, but more of that on page 19. So pretty much the stalled projects taking center stage on the Star, and the heartbroken tribute by the late Ogola's daughter taking it to the main story this morning on the front page of the Star. Grab a copy for yourself. Indeed, you'll be able to read more. Let's look at the economy. Especially this morning, we were able to put some breakfast on the table. Let's look at what the Business Daily front page looks like this morning. And CDN Bank founders pocket 842 million shillings from 16% stake sale. Economists and experts will be able to explain that further. But K-Rep Group receives the lion's share of payout. 9 individuals paid 96.72 million shillings for their 83,719 shares. Of course, U.S. firm buys Kwale Miners parent in a 31 billion shillings deal, also highlighted on the front page of the Business Daily. And Nairobi gets new EV charging stations, all right? Quite interesting. Remember, we've had conversations since the climate summit that happened in this country, and as far as taming the climate change effects and going for that matter. Tika has some interesting, of course, developments at the age. Kenya to overtake Angola as fourth biggest economy. Is it Kenya to overtake Angola as fourth biggest economy? Interesting headlines this morning. And multi-agency group to regulate crypto industry. Is it able to regulate it? All right. Now, that is it for the Business Daily. Let us close this with the Kiswahili version. Nchi ya vitu feki. All right. That is a Taifa Leo, Nchi ya vitu feki. As I quickly get more details of that, remember to send in your feedback as well on this matter. And Nchi ya vitu feki, if we just quickly zoom into what they are saying in that regard. Wanasema tangu mwezi uliopita wakulima waliuziwa mbolea gushi na NCPB. All right. Another nutshell, wakati wa msimu wa upanzi wakulima waliuziwa mbegu bandia. Juma iliyopita serikali ungana kuwa baadhi ya wafanyikazi wana vyeti feki. All right. Bodi ya dawa nchini imenasa wafamasia wengi wakiuza dawa bandia. Msako, of course, unaendelea kukabili pombe haramu maeneo tofauti. Wafanyikazi hewa wanahudumu katika county na serikali kuu. All right, so pretty much just saying what we've been talking about, fake fertilizer. Medicine in bad shape. I'll get to indulge. In fact, it's very important to start with this headline with the guest in studio this morning. We're very, very honored to have you, Honorable Didmas Barasa, in studio, Member of Parliament Kimilili. And looking at this headline on Taifa Leo, wanasema ini nchi ya vitu feki. In fact, ajabu ni kwamba uhuni huu unaendeshwa na watu wenye nafasi katika jamii ambao licha ya asasi na vitengo mbalimbali vya serikali kuanika na pia kutambuliwa na umma. Katu huwa it's difficult, okay, but hawadhibiwi, all right? So I know you understand what I'm saying, but nchi ya vitu feki, this kind of headline going around, and Tanzanians can read it. East Africa now, Kiswahili is not a strange language. In fact, you can translate it now, but this is the headline. You cannot be proud of this headline as a sitting member of parliament and in fact affiliated to the regime in power.
I want to say this candidly that this is not news at all.
Okay.
This is a small matter because government has policies on qualifications that various Kenyans have to meet before they are given responsibilities. And the issue, this thing of having fake degrees, fake things, contraband things, countries worldwide are faced with it. It's only that us in Kenya, where we have very many journalists who have chosen not to be patriots, and they continue to highlight things that are not important.
Journalists highlighting what is happening is lack of patriotism.
Absolutely. Let me tell you, it's only in Kenya where you see a journalist taking videos of, floods on the road, a section of the road that has been cut off.
Yes.
At the airport. You will never see a journalist from Nigeria, from Ghana, from South Africa doing the same. And let me tell you, those West African countries have got so many fake things, only that they don't see it like it's something to highlight. We have got very many Kenyans who are living without proper health care. We have very many Kenyans who are living in dilapidated houses. These are things which should be highlighted by the media so that they can attract the attention of people who want to come and assist them. I want to tell you for a fact that patriotism goes beyond the definition on paper. Patriotism is an area where people will play a very critical role in our society.
Honorable Didmas Barasa.
The members of the fourth estate.
All right.
You should continue to highlight very good things.
Right.
Very good things. You should actually market our country. You should actually highlight the very good thing that this country is experiencing. The issues of fake papers, the issues of fake things.
Yes.
You cannot say that Kenya is a fake country.
I have a question for you, Honorable Didmas Barasa. You are a sitting member of Parliament, and
yes.
you interact with the people on the ground.
Yes.
In your, in your position, even before you got into politics, how would you get information if not through the media? How would you know?
Let me tell
how
you.
did you know there was a gap and something that needed representation?
Let me tell you. The issue of fake university degrees and fake qualifications was highlighted in a document that was done by EACC, meaning therefore that the government or the country is on the right path when it comes to weeding out and qualified personnel occupying positions. And it's not just in the public sector.
Okay.
You know, EACC, being a public body, carried out a forensic audit to weed out people with fake qualifications in public institutions. I can tell you for a fact, Anki, that even in private institutions, here, Standard Group, everywhere, we also have people who have acquired qualifications.
You said you can tell us using, for a fact. You actually said you can tell us for a fact that
let me tell you.
Where I am seated.
Let me qualify my statement.
All right. Substantiate.
The public sector reflects our society. The pool where employees of public sector are gotten is the same pool where the private sector gets their employees from. And the fact that it has become clear that we have people with fake qualifications in the public sector, I can dare even say that the same ratio of people who are actually fake are also found in the private sector. So even as the media takes this role in castigating the government with headlines of Kenya being a fake country, you should also look at yourself through the mirror and look at the bigger picture. But nonetheless, do you know it is very expensive? It costs thousands of shillings to have something on the top page of a newspaper.
Of which, all right.
Of any newspaper.
All right.
Or to be highlighted in the media.
Okay.
So I just want to challenge our media. We have to challenge members of our fourth estate that they should relook at themselves. They should actually vet. It concerns me on some of the things making headlines.
All right.
On the newspapers.
What concerns? They
don't actually make sense. What should make sense and what should hit the headline is the positive things that are very important to this country. Honorable. A matter that is already that the government is already handling should not even find its way on the newspaper at all.
Honorable Didmas Barasa, our job is to hold you to account. Our job is to inform the public what is happening, good or bad. Our job is to ensure that society is free of any prejudices or bias. This is our job to communicate and teach the public. What do you mean when you say the media should only highlight positive things? Let's look at other papers, front pages of other papers, just on the side. The People Daily, we have looked at the Star, the audit in as far as the, wards reps stealing millions. This is not the fault of the media. We only share what has been presented.
Now,
it is a report that the public needs to see. What is your opinion on that?
Now, this is something that is important.
Okay.
You should continue to put such headlines on the newspaper, because to put such headlines on the newspaper to draw the attention of investigating agencies, to accelerate the actions of the investigating agencies and the various watchdog institutions in this country. So this one I support, and that anybody who siphons public money should be dealt with. And the one way of dealing with such characters is to highlight them on the newspapers, so that various agencies can be able to take up the matter, so that various watchdog committees can take up the matter, so that Kenyans can be aware that this is where This is the avenue where we are losing our millions of shillings.
Right.
This is the reason, rather, as to why we are getting substandard services from various county governments,
All right.
from various institutions of this country. And I repeat again, the media, the members of the fourth estate should actually have a criteria. They should have an in-house policy on what should make it to the headlines of your news.
We do. Let me hear from another very key guest in studio, because Honorable Mungatana, Dunstan Mungatana, who is the Senator Tana River, you got us just at the good, at the good time, I must say, right on time for our newspaper review. And the newspaper that I started reviewing is the Taifa Leo.
Yes.
Inasema nchi ya vitu feki. All right. And the Honorable Didmas Barasa advised the members of the Fourth Estate to work on how they put on their headlines. However, from where I sit, it is true that there's a lot of fake things going around the country at this point in time. I mean, what are your opening remarks in as far as the role of the media is concerned? Welcome to the show.
First of all, thank you. Good morning, Mheshimiwa. Good morning. I say good morning to our listeners out there. I think the role of the media is very important to our society. The media has a lot of power because media is the one very important source of communication to the masses. So it has its good side, like I have seen on TV, people being taught how to improve their farming. You see, I also have seen on TV debates around economy, how the economy is doing and so on. I have seen ministers coming to television to inform Kenyans what is happening.
Right.
I have seen His Excellency the President himself, His Excellency the Deputy President himself coming to the television and explaining one or two things concerning the nation. So the media has its place and they play a very critical role. However, within the same media,
right,
there are bad eggs. There are people who they are just about money. And so they know if they write a sensational headline, they are going to get the numbers.
Is that relative sensational headline?
It's not relative. It is there's something very objective.
All right.
There's something very objective. Like when you say inchi ya vitu fake.
Right.
You know, obviously you are going to attract some attention. And you're not saying what those things are. So someone has to go near there.
All right.
You see, is a very clever person who is trying to get someone to come near, and then after you go near, then you look at what he's saying, and sometimes you will find that the headlines are not related to the content, and in many occasions, I personally have gone to court on various various media about just misrepresentation of the facts. And sometimes the people who write that information do not even bother to call you for clarification.
All right.
So fact is, media is important, but you have rotten eggs within yourselves. So just like leadership within parliament, within executive, there are always madmen in the market. And so our role is to say that we minimize on those, but make sure the primary role is played by the people who are doing a good job for the society. That will be my comment.
All right. I think for all of us watching, we'll take the positive critic challenge taken, but let's look at an interesting headline here. On the Daily Nation front page, flashy city pastor on the run. Over 600 million shillings jobs racket. This is not the first time Kenyans are being duped into greener pastures kind of conversations. Now, Pastor James Wanjohi of Jesus Culture Ministry easily stands out wherever he goes. Of course, images are coming to the front page. But an overseas jobs placement syndicate linked to his farm and church has left a trail of shattered dreams and debilitating debt for hundreds of job seekers. You're sitting members of parliament. You know that from the onset of this republic, one of the things in the agenda is to make sure we fight poverty. In fact, there's a joke going round that the enemy is not the person. It is poverty is the main enemy. But looking at this headline, Honorable Barasa.
I think, to be honest and fair, I am not defending this flashy city pastor.
Okay.
Who apparently this headline say he is on the run. But understanding the procedures or the steps of our criminal justice system is that when a complaint is lodged at the DCI, the police will carry out investigations insofar as establishing the gravitas of the matter, insofar as establishing whether a crime was committed or not. So from going through this headline, it is clear that this matter is at a conception stage. The police have received a complaint from many Kenyans, and that they are looking for the same fella to be able to record his statement. It has not been approved by DPP that a prima facie has been established. So I think, and I see the newspaper has actually acted as a DCI. They have investigated the matter, they have prosecuted him, and they are taking him to jail. Like I said before.
No. We have a word from the DCI, Honorable Barasa. And Mr. Peter Njeru, if you open further, said, my team raided his office, that is the pastor's office, last week at Pension Towers in Nairobi, after much documented evidence of how he had swindled millions of unemployed Kenyans with fake jobs. You cannot say that the media has interrogated, has, convicted Honorable Barasa.
When you read, it's a whole front page, the
pages
back page.
2 and 3.
Let me tell you something that I know in this country. I know this Wanjohi ran for, and successfully ran to be elected member of parliament for Kasarani. Not Kasarani, but Roysam. I know for a fact. And that I have been victims in the past. Very many Kenyans have been victims over the past, where the headlines and the stories are fabricated by opponents. So I will be, I am a very, just to tarnish a particular fella. I am of the view that even as we try to read what these journalists have said here, the front page, the back page, the reporting, I will look at it with a keen eye until that time when the Director of Public Prosecutions will issue his clarification that yes, a prima facie has been established, and the pastor, the flashy city pastor, should be arraigned in court. At that time, that's when I'll begin to accept this kind of headlines.
All right.
We are coming up from an era where you remember in last general elections, before last general elections, when the DCI by then Kinoti could address the headline, the nation on very many things that have happened, and from that time nobody was taken to court. So I am always not quick to comment or about something that is under preliminary. These are preliminary investigations which may fail to pass the test of
may fail. So we leave it to the authorities.
It's not important at this time.
All right. Let me hear from other panelists, and I want to appreciate also joining us Honorable Anthony Kibagendi, who is a member of Parliament, Kitutu Churches South. Mheshimiwa, it's raining outside.
It's raining.
Thank you for creating time.
Thank you for hosting us.
We're looking at the newspapers, and of course Honorable Barasa has a very strong stand on the position of the media. But what I'm also seeing here is that Kenyans, not once, not twice, have not, just lined up to have their iris scanned for some 7,000 shillings, which also came to the parliament to be, checked, running to where the resources real quick. They have been duped in the process. So there is a headline here on the flashy city pastor on the run over the 600 million shillings jobs racket. What would be your view on this?
First, we must first appreciate that we have a major challenge with joblessness in the country and Africa in general. A bulk of the African population is now youthful and they're seeking jobs. And of course, African governments are not in a position to create jobs because of mainly lack of appropriate policies. And so this pushes young people into desperation. This pastor here is a friend of my colleague here, Honorable Didmas Baraza. He ran on a UDA ticket. And this is the kind of thing the UDA people like doing, telling people lies and taking advantage of them.
Would it be unfortunate to generalize that all the UDA people are likened to this?
Their consistency in telling lies this is one of the demonstrations, because
under investigation.
Why is he running away? If he's under investigation, what you do, you present yourself to the authorities. Honorable Baraza here knows when we have issues, you present yourself to the authority. If it is Friday, you can hide so that you don't stay in for the weekend. Then you present yourself to the authorities. You are taken to court, you pay a cash bail, and then the investigations continue. That should be the procedure. But now, because of their culture in that particular party and association, he knows what he was doing was wrong. And for this one, really, I don't want to put a lot of blame in government. While governments have been unable to create jobs, it is a continental problem. Yeah, we genuinely do not have jobs. But how I wish government would keep even a fraction of their promise in terms of job creation, in terms of even in the housing sector that they said they would create so many jobs, we do not seem to see where those jobs are, because a majority of the people that have been scammed are not necessarily professionals. These are people who are going to look for manual jobs, people who are going to seek factory jobs, people who are going to seek construction site jobs, security guards, and hospitality industry. So really, these are, the government should be able to do something to try and reduce on the number of unemployed young Kenyans, which has created the desperation that such criminals are taking advantage of.
All right, now before we look at the front page of the Star, let's hear from Honorable Mugatana on this briefly.
On this particular one, let me say that last year I chaired the Shakahola committee on the massacres that happened because of very, let me call them demonic teachings from a person who claimed to be a pastor, who claimed to have received a vision from God, who claimed that one way of going to heaven, you accelerate by fasting and dying, except that all the congregants' children were to die before his. Then all the wives of the congregants were to die and the same for the because he was supposed to be the last one with his family, and they were supposed to meet Jesus in Malindi. So we know that some people can really misuse religion for personal benefit. So even though we did our bit, the fact of the matter is it still continues. Even after we closed that chapter, there are people who are still using religion for wrong purposes. So for me, I don't know the gentleman personally, but I think that it is good that at the reception of complaints, they are acting on them, because one of the problems with Shakahola was that people were complaining that I cannot find my person, and then no action was being taken. So if they have started the work, that is okay. But we have to come back on Honorable Kibagendi I don't know why he's saying that this is a culture of UDA. I don't know what. I think we are before the people of Kenya who are listening to us, and they're looking at us as leaders. This is a very serious matter. When you go into the story, you will see some people lost, their hopes, their dreams of going to work in Canada. They paid their very hard-earned money.
In fact,
to go and do that.
4,000 people who paid 100,000 shillings to 140,000 shillings.
Yeah, so for someone, honorable member, to, Kenyans listening there, you start saying, oh, it is a UDA, what matter. I think sometimes we have to come out of the pettiness, because that is, I think, very petty. I think we need to focus on the issues. There are people who are suffering out there, who are our voters, who are our Kenyans. They are not in any political party. Some of them maybe even didn't vote, but they have suffered. So when we are looking at the issues, let's look at the issues and put the blame where it is, urge the authorities to act, because for me, they haven't done enough. DCI cannot say they cannot get a person. How in Kenya? I think that is something wrong there.
Doris,
as we transition to the star, yes,
I want to say this. I have never met this Pastor Wajohi, but I know he ran for unsuccessfully.
So he's not your friend?
He's not my friend at all, the way Kibagende has alluded to it as such. But the genesis of my statement is that DCI, investigators, they should communicate through a charge sheet. They should not communicate through the newspapers. They should communicate through a charge sheet. Like I have done investigations, I'm taking this person, we have charged this person with this particular offense. Same to DPP, same to the judges. The judges will communicate through the judgment.
How will the public know? How will the public know who this is and how not to get into the trap?
Even
if it is not highlighted.
Even when you are investigating something, and you begin to address
alleged, you can.
You begin even to prejudice your own investigations. Investigations are supposed to be carried out secretly, so that you're able to get everybody on board. By the time that you have established a prima facie case, then you communicate through a charge sheet. The facts will be put through a charge sheet and statements. That is what we should do. If you were to go back and audit the reports that DCI has been prosecuting in the newspapers, in the cameras of the TVs, none of them has ever been convicted in
None
court.
of them.
Absolutely.
Honorable Didmas Baratha.
Yeah.
If you say that, you might have to go deeper and substantiate, because even case files that go years later, just the other day, Monica Kimani's case was concluded. Just the other day, we have development on Sharon's death probe. So there are developments. You cannot say never that anything that came to the media has not reached.
By the time let me tell you, I have been a while.
Because we need to move on.
I've been I've been around for a while. I'm serving my second term. Bagandi is serving his first term. I have seen so many things happen in political circles.
Okay.
When you see a headline on an individual person, headline, 2 pages, the first page and the second page, then you know there is somebody who went to the kitchen to cook it.
No.
And even when you read it going forward, you read it step by step. I know.
Okay.
And by the way, we all live in this country. None of us doesn't live in this country. We know how these things happened when such stories find their way on the headline.
But again,
yes,
this story is not an isolated one.
Right.
We have so many fraudulent agencies that are taking advantage of unsuspecting
At some point, a county was on the spot.
Yeah.
An entire county, and it was prompt.
Was in issue that time.
Yes.
But and this should be a warning to all those. Like now, there is one I'm investigating where some constituents, 4 of them, paid 150,000 to an agent who was supposed to get them jobs in Dubai, and because that agent hasn't gotten them jobs, the agent has totally refused to hand them back their passports. So it is not isolated. We have so many agencies that are taking advantage of unsuspecting Kenyans. The only issue I have with this one is that he is associated with the side that these two come from in terms of political association.
And we're going to come to the party politics
Absolutely.
conversation.
And, if you look at the top page, we have this one where it says that teachers oppose proposal to lower retirement age. Which one should take precedence? You look at these teachers. This is very important.
Honorable Didmus Barasa, the media has a way of...
If this pastor is a fraudster, he should be arrested and taken to court. But in terms of taking precedence, making big news, between Flashy City Pastor, you look at the way the headline has been coined. Flashy City Pastor.
Okay.
This is not even be a pastor in my view. A criminal is not even be a pastor. He's not even a pastor. They will have, So this headline, the sub-headline where you are hiding here, teachers oppose proposal to lower retirement age. This is a national debate. This is what could have gotten to the headline and even occupy the first 3 pages. Right. Not this flashy city pastor.
Thank you very much for your opinion, Honorable Didmus Barasa. We appreciate different perspectives on this matter. In fact, let's take a look at, before we bring in an animation or a cartoon for that matter, the front page of the Star. All right, stalled projects in 10 counties. This is not the first time we're talking about stalled projects where we have pumped in money, and I appreciate that you sit in a very critical role in Parliament, oversighting. All right, so 10 counties gobble 12 billion shillings. We're looking at per county the stalled projects and the amount in billions and millions. Honorable members, Nairobi, Lakisama, Majengo, Mabatini health centers that cost about 1.36 billion shillings. In Kiambu, Bibirioni level, the hospital, 285 million. I would read all of them, including Eldama Ravine Guest House, 517 million. I mean, in a nutshell, of course, you can look at it on the screen, but let's talk about devolution. Remember, just the other day, there was a back and forth with the counties needing more resources, etc. Honorable Mungatana, let's start with you briefly on this issue.
In fact, devolution is our main reason for being elected in the Senate. And if you look at that list, I'm very embarrassed to say that Tana River County has made the list yet again on the report by the Auditor General, Nancy Gathongo. 58
projects stalled, Tana River.
Yes. We have been mentioned there that 58 projects have stalled.
Yes.
And that 825 million is the value of this project. And unfortunately, it is true. We have a governor and a team that is insensitive to issues finances. And just last week, I was highlighting what again the Auditor General had mentioned in her report, that is the 2022-2023 financial year, where she said again about Tana River County. And again, Tana River was amongst the 6 counties out of the 47 that were mentioned with the what is called the adverse opinion of the Auditor General, which is the worst possible opinion from the Auditor General. And I was in the county last week and talking about this.
All right.
That 475 million were paid as legal fees, and they were flagged by the Auditor General that these could not be supported. They paid 100 million shillings for travel, domestic travel. They could not support that. They paid 126 million that was supposed to be in the payroll. People who are paid, but they're not in the payroll, and they could not explain themselves. But the worst of it is they paid contractors 22 million. Those were 4 examples that were shining.
All right.
They paid for a road, for roads, 22 million to contractors, and there are no roads. When the auditor went to see, there are no roads. So, and today, now that was about 2 weeks ago when we were looking at the Auditor General's report. Today, the Auditor General is focusing now on stalled projects, okay?
Right.
And Tana River is making the list of embarrassment. Now, I have a question for DCI.
Okay.
I have a question for ESCC. ESCC comes to Tana River. DCI we have, in fact, the county boss in Hola, right next to the offices of the county, and these people are sitting, being paid salaries. In fact, I want to use this opportunity to ask the CEO of EACC to tell Kenyans, why is it that he has not made any arrests in Tana River County? Why? What is the story between the story? You know, we have to ask these questions, and he has to come and justify before Kenyans why he is not making arrests in the county. Are there things that are going on and the public is not being told? Why is the EACC, why is the DCI not doing anything about Tana River County? You know, you will see they are chasing Mwangi Wairia, who has left office. You know, the Mwangi Wairia has left office. There is a guy here, and it's not me who is talking, so don't say it's politics. It is the government itself through the Nancy Githongo, the Auditor General, who is saying there's a problem in this county, who is saying there are issues. In fact, there are glaring problem, not just issues of not filing records. There's a problem here. 22 million has been paid, and there is no road. You know, there are those glaring things.
All right.
Not even these 58 stalled projects. There are things that obviously are showing financial mismanagement. Why is the EACC not making arrests in Tana River? So I challenge them. You know, they should also surrender those salaries, you know. They should surrender those salaries. DCI, Tana River County, DCI headquarters, EACC, the branch in Malindi, EACC CEO, they should surrender the salaries for the time that people are stealing money and they're seated there. And we tell them, we write to them, and now it is becoming like a joke, because in the Senate, I'm not the only one. There are several senators who have raised issues with the mismanagement of funds. And it is our role, because we are the ones who go to ask for money for our counties. No, last year, we got 8 billion shillings from what we do, you know, for the equitable share that we fight for our counties. And then you see this kind of reports at the end of the year from our own Auditor General, and you see no statement from Twalib. No statement from the DCI. What are these people doing? Why are they earning salaries if they are not helping the people at the county headquarters? There are people at the Tana River County and other counties. You're wasting public resources. In fact, they are also misusing public resources, you know?
These particular institutions are now also
yes,
misusing.
EACC should not be paid their salaries. The guy, the executive director, the CEO of EACC does not deserve to be paid any salary. He's not doing anything. He's just, you know, why are you dealing with matters that have exceeded time? This is a guy who has left.
Wairia has left. Short break.
Yeah, Wairia has left. There are governors who are sitting in the office. There's continuing crime. In fact, the other day, present crime. The other day, Honorable Kajwang, our public accounts chair, he was in Isiolo and he said, this county, I declare it to be a crime scene. And the DCI has not given any form of reaction.
All right.
The EACC, nothing. We are saying they don't deserve to earn the salaries they are getting. And it is a shame that they go to offices and they hear these things. Nancy Githongo is returning verdicts on these counties, and they are sitting there.
All right.
And we are raising these issues, and they're just sitting there waiting for the end of month doing nothing. They should at least bring those people to right state.